I'm still trying to scratch my head. Oh, that one, Dr. Cavill. I
Four
understand your
straight.
justification.
And let me get it straight. Alcorn actually has won 6 straight.
I understand your justification for having Maryland Eastern Shore up there, but I'm supposed to get into you like you got into me. Despite the head-to-head with Maryland Eastern Shore over Howard in the conference opener, I still can't see. I guess this. Howard has more sexy victories than Maryland Eastern Shore.
They do.
So, as a human voter, we all love our sex. So that's the that's why I would have had to go with Howard over Maryland Eastern Shore. Despite Morgan defeated your previous number one. Correct me if I'm wrong. The number one from 2 weeks ago. Norfolk was like number 3 last week, and they now sit. That only got them to number 5. Dr. Cavill. I've got to question that. I think Morgan should have been up ahead of Southern and possibly Alcorn if you consider Morgan's non-conference. Not conference.
All this East Coast bias.
I'm not doing East Coast bias. I'm really not trying to get the East Coast bias. I'm you asked my opinion. I'm giving my opinion. I'm just throwing out things. If I would have put pen to paper or finger to keyboard,
this really has thrown him off.
I am glad I did not see this before I put this on the screen. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, y'all.
The great Davey Whitney is looking down right now, shaking his head. The Wiz is shaking his head. Alcorn has won 6 in a row. 6 in a row since that early elbow to Jackson State. Landon Bussey has not had. Dominic Bruton is somewhere shooting threes right now. I'm telling you, this Alcorn State team, this is a tough team. Landon Bussey got them. He got them in the right direction. They're trending upward. That was a shocker, the way they started off SWAC play with the loss of Jackson State. But I tell you what, we talking about Howard being one of the hottest teams out there. They won 4 in a row, but Alcorn sitting over there, they won 6 straight. This is a good basketball team that will lock you up on the defensive side of the ball.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back to day 2 action of the Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championships here at the Gordon Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia. I'm Mo Carter here on the call representing the Black College Sports Network for day 2. As we mentioned, and we've got a slew of games. We're starting off right here on field number 2 with Albany State and Lane. Albany State coming into today's game 26-15. They fell to Spring Hill College 2-1 on yesterday, while Lane lost an early contest to Edward Waters, but then bounced back and beat Fort Valley State 7-4. Pick things up right now with 1 out. As I mentioned, we're here at the Barton Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia for this year's conference tournament. A lot of great action we've seen thus far on the playing field. Here's a throw to first and another out.
Two outs for the Dragons, and up to bat, designated player number 13, Haley Stinnett.
On the mound today for Albany State, number 23, Trisha Murphy. So far, Shannon McNair and Malay Lambert have been thrown out at first base. So 2 outs. At the dish right now, Caitlin Stinnett. Stinnett coming through with a solo shot yesterday in their first game of action. against Edward Waters. And she gets the strike there. Here comes the pitch from Murphy. And Murphy thought for sure it was strike number 3, but it was just strike number 2. I don't know, sometimes you do just get that little anxious energy to get back into the dugout if you've done a job well done. And there's strike number 3 by Trista Murphy. So, Lane College doesn't get anything going in the top of the first. We are at the mid of the first. We'll return with bottom of the first as Albany State will be up the bat. We'll be right back with more action here on the Black College Sports Network.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs. Committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
Hey, welcome back into the Gordon Sports Complex here in Albany, Georgia. We're in the bottom of the first. The Golden Rams now up to bat. And at the dish is number 2, the second baseman, Madison Hurt. On the mound for Lane College today is Jersey Cabana. She finished the regular season with 68 strikeouts. And there's a nice bunt that was laid down. And then following that, it's Madison Hurt who outruns the throw to first. So she picks up the single to get things going for the Rams.
The Golden Rams, center fielder number 16, Katie Ayers.
Coming up next to the dish is number 16. It'll be Ayers. She's from Rockmort, Georgia. And here's the pitch to Ayers, and it's a strike. So we got 1 ball and 1 strike. Ayers, a sophomore, or as I mentioned, from Rockmort, Georgia. And she lays down the bunt. The throw to the first is on time for the out. But in the process, Madison Hurt is able to advance to second base. And my apologies for not doing this earlier in the day, but Lane College rocking the light blue tops with the white numbering and gray bottoms. Albany State rocking the all grays with dark blue numbers and a white trim around those numbers. At the bat now, Ramona McLeod, the left fielder, number 13. Sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama, the capital city of the Yellowhammer State. I count no balls. 1 strike. And she will pop it into foul play. And then there we see the ball on the netting going back and forth. Somebody's going to come get the big stick and knock it down a little bit later on. I saw that was an interesting process that the field crew was doing yesterday. And there's another foul ball hit down near the third base line. Yeah, the pole that I'm making reference to, everyone, it almost looked like one of the poles that, the energy companies would come through and use to, I guess, change the light bulbs or whatever. That's literally what it looked like as they were trying to knock down some of these balls that get stuck in the netting above the sports complex. No balls, 2 strikes. And there's a pop-up in to shallow center field, and the ball is dropped. Second baseman tried to make the play, but definitely dropped. And also the direction of the sun literally is in her eyes as well from our viewpoint. With that being said, Hurt will advance to third off the base hit. And we are back. Sorry about that. We had a small technical issue, but in the process, the video was still running. We had a throwing error by the shortstop to first. That allowed Madison Hurt to cross the plate for the first run of the day, and Albany State takes a 1-0 lead. At the dish right now, number 20, the first baseman, and that is Jasmine Russell, young lady from out of Wetumpka, Alabama. And Russell will bloop one, foul. 2 feet to the left, and it is a fair ball and a nice single for her. Albany State coming into today's game 26-15 on the year. As I mentioned, they fell to Spring Hill College yesterday 2-1. All right, here's a big hit into left field, and it will be caught. Runner will tag up from third base and cross the plate for a sacrifice fly there.
Coming up the bat for the Golden Rams, right fielder number 4, Glory C.
And another run will score for Albany State. Rams now on top, 2-0. At the dish now, number 4, the right fielder, Glory C. Georgia native has 1 ball and no strikes. And here's the pop-up. Second baseman will make the play for the final out of the frame. So in the bottom of the first, it's Albany State who strikes first with 2 runs. They lead Lane College by a score of 2-0. We'll be back with more SIAC softball action here on the Black College Sports Network. And we're back here at the Gordon Sports Complex, top of the second inning now. Lane College back up to bat. On the dish, number 5, Ava Meredith, the third baseman for the Lady Dragons. Meredith, freshman from Las Vegas, Nevada. We talked yesterday about how this probably was a culture shock from her going from Vegas to Jackson, Tennessee. Definitely 2 different worlds. Definitely 2 different worlds, but then again, maybe she wanted to get away from the big lights of Vegas and get into a small college town. Here's the count, 3 balls, no strikes. And Meredith will draw the ball for a walk, and she'll head over to first base.
Coming up to bat for the Dragons, second baseman, number 1, Haley Koger.
It's Haley. Haley Koger up to bat now. She lays down the bunt. Koger going to try to head to first. She'll be thrown out at first, but in the process, Meredith is able to advance to second base.
One out. Up to bat for the Dragons, center fielder, number 21, Jaden McCarty.
Now with the dish, center fielder number 21, Jaden McCarty. Young lady from the West Coast, San Diego, California. She will hit the chopper. Third baseman grabs it and throws her out at first. 2 outs now for the Lady Dragons as Meredith is able to make her way over to third base. Pretty sure McCarty's another one that is similar to Meredith as far as being from the western portion of the United States. And then coming over to Jackson, Tennessee, another culture shock for sure. But hey, she's making the most of her college experience. At the dish now is number 15, Savannah Johnson, the first baseman. Blue Mountain, Mississippi is where she calls home. She's a senior. Here's the pitch, and a nice base hit in the right field. She will drive in a run as Meredith will cross the plate And Lane College scores their first run of the evening. They now trail 2-1.
He already changed his lineup even before I wrote it down.
I think I've already figured out what's going to trump any decisions I make about camping or lodging.
Okay.
My anniversary's the night before. That starts. Yeah.
So following the base hit by Savannah Johnson, we will have a pitch runner in for Johnson. Number 11, Aria Battle. Young lady from Illinois will be the pitch runner on first. Carissa Ball now up to the plate for Lane College. Here's the pitch by Trista Murphy. It's to the outside for a ball. And there goes number 11, Aria Battle, and she is thrown out at second trying to steal. So she is caught on the plate, and that will be the third and final final out of the frame. But Lane Dragons, they do get on the board with a single that drives in a runner. They trail 2-1. We'll head to the bottom of the second after the break here on BCSN.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And we're back at the Gordon Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia. Bottom of the second inning right now. Albany State holding on to a 2-1 lead over the Lady Dragons of Lane. At the dish right now is number 3. That is Tiana McFarland for Albany State. This year, McFarland had a .348 batting average. She's a sophomore from Sugar Land, Texas, out there in the Houston area. All right, our sequence is 2-2 with no outs. Oh, God. Here's a 2-2 pitch. struck her out. Jersey Cabana coming through with the strikeout of Tiana McFarland. 1 out.
Coming up to bat for the Golden Rams, third baseman, number 12, Delaney Hollis.
Now batting for the Panthers, number 12, Bill.
Coming up next to bat for the Lady Rams, it'll be the third baseman, Delaney Hollis.
You're not hitting the reset button, are you?
Hollis, a sophomore from Snellville, Georgia. She has gotten the 0-1 pitch. Umpire had to look at his first base ump and be like, did she go? From our vantage point, we wonder if the other umpire was even looking. But it's a ball, so the count is 1-1. All right, here's a pop-up, and what an amazing grab by the first baseman for an out. And we talk about amazing. Here's the situation. Not only did she make the grab, she ran into the door of the dugout in the process.
Shortstop, number 9, Tajane Brown.
What a great grab there by the Lane College infielder. Which is number 11, Aria Battle. Here's another pop-up, and and the ball. The ball is missed by the first baseman, but the batter for Albany State thought it was just going to be automatically caught. So she didn't even run and take off towards first base. Even though the ball was dropped, she was not close enough to get to the base safely, and she is still tagged for the third and final out of the frame. All right, we'll head to the top of the third inning. Your score, Albany State 2, Lane College 1. We'll be right back with more SIAC softball action.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs, committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
And welcome back to the Gordon Sports Complex. Albany State taking on Lane in the 11 o'clock game here in Albany, Georgia at the SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. Mo Carter here back on the call with the Black College Sports Network, and we already got one out for Lane College. That was Carissa.
Up to bat for the Dragons, left fielder, number 24, Shauna McNair.
That was Carissa Ball who popped out just now. Now with the dish is number 24, Shauna McNair, one of the twins that is on this Lane College team. And the ball is hit foul by McNair. Shannon McNair, a freshman from Jensen Beach, Florida, which is near West Palm. And she will strike out on the play. It'll be 2 outs for the Lane College Lady Dragons.
2 outs for the Dragons. Back to the top of the order. Leadoff hitter for the Dragons. Shortstop, number 12, Shauna McNair.
So we talked about the McNair twins. We just saw Shayna McNair. Here comes Shauna McNair now.
Is that first pitch a ball?
And there's a pitch by Murphy, and that's going to be a strike.
Now batting for Tuskegee, number 11, Hawkins.
Pitch goes outside for a ball. Coming to this tournament, Shauna McNair hitting .326 for the Dragons. It'll be another ball. 3-1 is the count. And McNair swings at the outside pitch. If she doesn't do that, she is taking a walk to first base. Full count now. And McNair will hit it in the foul ball territory. And there's McNair hitting the ground ball. It is bobbled by the third baseman, and McNair will get to first base safely. We'll credit them with an E5 on the play.
Up to bat for the Dragons, the catcher, number 18, Malay Lambert.
Coming up next for the Dragons will be number 15, Malay Lambert, the senior from Florence, Alabama. And here's the first pitch from Murphy. It's going to be a ball. Strike on this pitch by Murphy. As I mentioned, Murphy coming into the tournament with 88 strikeouts on the season. The windup and the pitch, and it's to the outside for another ball. Murphy, a sophomore from the state of Georgia. Here's the pitch to Lambert. It's high. For a ball. We've got 3 balls. 1 strike is the count. And there's the strike. Full count now coming up. Full count in the top of the 3rd inning. And the ball is hit into foul ball territory. Still 3-2. The pitch to Lambert, and Lambert will hit it high and out of play.
Now batting, number 7, Brown.
Oh, and that one gets away from Murphy. It is high and to the outside for ball number 4. So Lambert will take the base. McNair will advance to second. Up the bat now is going to be the catcher, Kaylee Stinnett.
Up the bat for the Dragons, designated player number 13, Kaylee Stinnett.
And Stinnett will swing for a strike. Stinnett, the sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada. I count 1 ball, 1 strike for Stinnett. Tristan Murphy on the mound. She's got 2 strikeouts so far and 2.2 innings pitched. And there's a ground ball to throw to first. Off the mark. A run will score for the Lady Dragons, and we've got a tie ball game at 2 apiece. So Shauna McNair will cross the plate following the error at first base. We got a 2-2 ball game.
Up the bat for the Dragons, cleanup hitter, third baseman, number 5, Ava Meredith.
Here's a pitch by Murphy for a strike. And what a great catch right there by the second baseman. That's Madison Hurt for the third and final out. But we got a brand new ball game, everyone, as the Lane Dragons score and tie this thing up. It's 2-2 between Lane and Fort Valley State. We will have more SIAC softball action on the other side of the break.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket. like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And we're back here at the Gordon Sports Complex. We're going into the bottom of the third. We're back to the top of the lineup. Madison Hurt now at the dish, the second baseman who just made the third and final out with a nice grabbing, diving catch. First pitch from Jersey Cabana is a strike. Next pitch, it'll be a ball. Madison Hurt, young lady from right up the road, technically, Phoenix City, Alabama. So literally just hop right back on the main highway and just drive all the way back like you're going towards Columbus, then cross the bridge, and boom, you're right there. Here's another ball to the outside. 2 balls, 1 strike is our count. Top of the third inning, we are tied at 2 apiece. Another ball being thrown by Jersey Cabana. 3 balls, 1 strike is the count. No outs. Like I said, we're here at the Gordon Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia for the Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament Championship. And how about this? The bunt is laid down by Madison Hurt. Ava Meredith tried to wait to see if it was going to go foul, and it did not. So, in the process, Hurt is able to make her way to first base safely and get a single. Katie Ayers now up at the dish, the center fielder. From Rockmart, Georgia. First pitch is a ball from Jersey Cabana. So far, Cabana has given up 2 hits and struck out 1. And we got a play at second, and it's close, but Madison Hurt is able to slide in untouched for a steal. So the count is 1-1. So our count now is 2 balls and 1 strike for Katie Ayers. Here's the windup and the pitch. And this time the ball will go foul. Ava Meredith was hoping that happened a few minutes ago when Madison Hurt laid down a bunt, but that was not the case. But this time it was. So Ayers now has 2 balls and 2 strikes. What's also funny, too, is as she laid down that bunt, that ball literally stopped 1 inch to the left of the foul line. And there is a strikeout as Ayers goes down swinging. So that'll be 1 out for the Golden Rams. Coming up next is the left fielder, number 13, Ramona McLeod. McLeod will hit a high ball out of play. It actually just hit on top of the roof above us. Beautiful day down here in Albany, Georgia. Currently, our temperature is 70 degrees with a nice breeze. Here's a pitch from Cavana. It's going to be another ball. Ball one. One ball, one strike, one out. Go to Rams. And the Dragons are tied at 2 apiece. And there's a high fly ball hit into into left field, and the left fielder drops it.
E7.
We'll score it in E7.
Up to bat for the Golden Rams, catcher number 25, Morgan Brown.
So Madison Hurt will advance to third base. Mona McLeod makes her way over to second. And up, we've got another softball that came from the other field. On the other field, we've got Tuskegee and Clark Atlanta going head to head.
I like having next door, but that's the one thing that you got. But it's good to communicate.
Done. Here's a low pitch by Cabana. Sounds like somebody was beating on the trash cans below us.
Hey, Adam, who's home over there?
Here's a pitch by Cabana. And it is low for another ball. Morgan Brown at the dish right now, number 25. Brown, a sophomore from Thompson Station, Tennessee. And there's a ground ball hit, and Brown will be thrown out at first. However, she is able to drive in a run as Madison Hurt will cross the plate. Golden Rams retake the lead by a score of 3-2.
Up to bat for the Golden Rams, first baseman number 20, Jasmine Russell.
And that ball is popped up and caught by the Lane Dragons for the third and final out. But in the process, Fort Valley is able to retake the lead thanks to an RBI single by Morgan Brown. Albany State was able to take the lead by thanks to a run batted in recently by Morgan Brown. They lead 3-2. We'll head to the fourth inning right here on the Black College Sports Network.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs.
And welcome back to the Gordon Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia. We head to the top of the fourth inning. Albany State leading lane 3-2.
Second baseman, number 1, Holly Colger.
Now with the dish is the second baseman. It'll be Colger, young lady from Florence, Alabama. Here's the pitch. It goes to the outside for ball number 4. So Colger will take her base via a walk.
Up to bat for the Dragons, center fielder, number 21, Jaden McCarty.
Out the bat now will be
Times yesterday we had the same score on both fields. This time it's reversed.
Jaden McCord at the dish now for
Wow. She tripped over the first baseman. They may have called interference. It was a strike. I usually call out the pitch if there's a play on the base or something, just for my own benefit. Because that way I remember. But it wasn't intentional, but she tripped over her. She might have gone.
And at the end of 3, your score is 83.
Jaden McCarty laying down the bunt, and she will be thrown out at first base.
I never saw him signal. I'm sure she was
One out for the Dragons and up to bat. First baseman, number 15, Savannah Johnson.
Savannah Johnson now coming up to the dish. So here's a pitch by Murphy. And how about this? Neither the catcher or the pitcher can get to the quick hit, as some people would say. Runners will advance to first and third in the process, so the Dragons have runners on the corners. And looks like we've got a little discussion between the home plate umpire and one of the other officials.
the way of the right fielding is, I think, what they're checking.
One out for the Dragons. Up to bat, right fielder, number 8, Carissa Ball.
Carissa Ball now coming up to bat for the Lady Dragons, who are rocking a light blue top and gray bottoms. Albany State rocking the all gray with dark blue numerals. And we've got a ball on the pitch, but we have a steal of second. Here's a pitch by Murphy. That'll be another ball. Murphy gets Carissa Ball swinging on that one. Two balls, one strike for Carissa Ball. And that ball is popped up. Second baseman calling for it, and she makes the catch. Sun was definitely in her eyes on that one, but she is able to make the successful catch for the second out of the frame.
Up to bat for the Dragons, left fielder number 24, Shanna McNair.
Shannon McNair now at the dish. That pitch goes inside for a strike. The next pitch by Murphy. Coming up right now. It'll be high for a ball. At the game adjacent to us right now, it is all tied up between Clark Atlanta and Tuskegee. Clark 3, Tuskegee 3. And there's a strike. Another ball. We got a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs for Shanna McNair. What can the lady from Jensen Beach, Florida do? And she will pop one up. Should be an easy catch. And it is for out number 3. So we'll head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Your score, Albany State 3. Lane College 2. We'll be right back with more SIAC softball action.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs. Committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream. All hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool your school. We're powered by purpose.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And welcome back to the Gordon Sports Complex here in Albany, Georgia, the site of the 2023 Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. Mo Carter here on the broadcast via the Black College Sports Network. We want to thank the SIAC for teaming up with us so we can bring you the best live coverage on the road to the SIAC Championship. We're now in the bottom of the fourth inning. Albany State holding on to a 3-2 lead over Lane College. At the dish right now, Tiana McFarland. She's got one ball, one strike. Awaiting the pitch from Jersey Cabana, and that's going to be a strike. We've got a 1-2 count. Here's the next pitch. It is low for ball number 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. All right, now it's 2-2. We got ahead of ourselves, everyone.
Two outs. Up to bat for the Golden Rams, third baseman, number 12, Delaney Hollis.
So that'll be the second out for the Golden Rams. At bat next is number 12, Delaney Hollis. And Hollis will knock a ball into foul ball territory. Delaney Hollis with a big pink bow on the back of her braids. The pitch from Cabana is to the outside for a ball.
Corrections. Now pitching for the Golden Tigers, number 20, Caroline Clark.
One ball, 2 strikes. 2 outs for the Golden Rams. Here's Hollis. Here's the ground ball, and she is thrown out at first base for the third and final out of the inning. We play 4. We'll head to the top of the 5th with our score, Albany State 3, Lane 2. We'll be right back with more SIAC softball.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs, committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
And we're back in Albany, Georgia for the 2023 Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. Mo Carter here on the broadcast. As we go into the top of the fifth, Lane College at the dish. They trail 3-2 to Albany State's Rams. We are back to the top of the lineup with number 12, the twin, Shauna McNair. Trista Murphy throws a strike towards her. And here's a pitch from Murphy to the outside for another ball. And McNair connects on the play, but she is thrown out at first. One down for the Dragons.
Up to bat for the Dragons, the catcher, number 18, Malay Lambert.
Oh, yeah. Now with the dish, number 18, Malay Lambert, the senior from Florence, Alabama. And Murphy throws a strike towards her. Lambert will hit a high fly ball in the center field, and it is caught by Morgan Brown.
2 outs at the bat for the Dragons.
2 outs for the Dragons.
Number 13, Kaylee Stinnett.
Now here comes Kaylee Stinnett. About this time yesterday, she hit the home run to get her team on the board first in this SIAC softball tournament. And that'll be a foul ball tip by Stinnett. Here comes Stinnett with 1 strike, no balls, and it'll be no balls and 2 strikes now on the count. Strike 3 by Murphy. That'll be the third and final out.
Albany State University Golden Rams 3, the Lane College Dragons 2.
We'll head to the bottom of the inning. Golden Rams of Albany State still lead the Dragons of Lane 3-2. We'll be right back with more SIAC softball.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And welcome back for action here in Albany, Georgia, 2023 Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. Albany State at the dish. It'll be number 9, Tajane Brown for the Golden Rams. And Brown will hit a pop-up. Second baseman calls it and makes the catch for the first out.
One out for the Golden Rams and back to the top of the order. Second baseman, number 2, Madison Bird.
So the winner of this game will advance to face the winner of the Tuskegee and Clark Atlanta game that will be played at 4 p.m. And how about this? Even though third baseman Avon Meredith cannot make the quick catch on the line drive, she's still able to throw the Golden Rams batter out at first base for the second out of the frame.
2 outs, up the bat for the Golden Rams. Center fielder number 16, Katie Ayers.
Katie Ayers now at the dish for the Golden Rams, and she will hit a ball out of play. As I mentioned, the winner of this game will advance to the 4 o'clock matchup and will face the winner of Tuskegee and Clark Atlanta. Right now, Tuskegee's Tigerettes are up 8-3 over the Lady Panthers. They're in the 4th inning on the field adjacent to us. Katie Ayers now with 1 ball and 2 strikes, facing 2 outs for the Golden Rams. Pitch from Jersey Cabana. Oh, how about this? Ava Meredith and Jersey Cabana both thought the ball was going to go foul, but it stayed in play. So Ayers is able to make it to first base successfully. McLeod now up to bat. Ramona McLeod, that is. And there's a live drive into left field for a single.
Two outs, up the bat for the Golden Rams. Cleanup hitter, number 25, the catcher, Morgan Brown.
Morgan Brown now at the dish. And that pitch is to the outside by Cabana for the first ball. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs for the Golden Rams. Here's a pitch for Cabana, and ball will be hit in the center field, and it is caught for out number 3.
And your score score at the end of 5 innings of play. Albany State University.
We played 5 here in Albany, Georgia. Your score, Albany State 3, Lane 2. More SIAC softball action is coming up on the other side of the break.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has
And we're back in the top of the 6th inning. Lane College at the dish now. Ava Meredith at bat. First pitch is a strike from Murphy. Another strike. 0-2 is your count for Ava Meredith. And Meredith will pop it up. First baseman calling for it, and she makes the catch. 1 out for the Lane College Dragons.
1 out, up to bat for the Dragons. Second baseman, number 1, Lee Cover.
Up to bat next is number 1, Haley Koger. And that is a ball. 2 balls, no strikes for Koger. So far, Trista Murphy has pitched 5.1 innings, giving up 2 hits. She's had 1 error, and she struck out 3. There's a strike by Murphy. Next pitch is high for ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike, and 1 out. Coming towards Haley Koger. Swing and a miss. 3 balls, 2 strikes now for Koger. And there's a foul ball tip. We'll reset with 3 balls and 2 strikes. Struck her out right there. Strike 3 for the second out of the frame.
Up the bat for the Dragons, center fielder, number 21, Jaden McCarty.
Number 21, Jaden McCarty, now at the dish. She entered the tournament with a .324 batting average. McCarty tries to swing for the fences. Instead, that ball will be out of play along the third base line. And that pitch is high into the outside for ball 2. Another high pitch for ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike for McCarty. As we mentioned earlier, the winner of this game will face the winner of Clark Atlanta and Tuskegee at 4 p.m. McCarty hitting a ball out of play for a foul. It remains 3-2. And it seemed like that pitch was down the middle. However, they will rule it a ball, and McCarty will take the walk to first base. And Murphy is not happy about that. Coach Jason Bryant making his way over to the pitching mound to kind of calm down his pitcher.
So we thought that was going to happen. So 15 is re-entering to bat.
Up the next to bat for the Lane College Dragons will be number 15, Savannah Johnson.
Number 15, Savannah Johnson.
There's still some discussion about what happened recently. You take that, plus you add Savannah Johnson re-entering the lineup, and we've got a short delay. In the meantime, we want to thank all of you for joining us here for the 2023 Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. We also want to thank the SIAC front office for partnering with the Black College Sports Network for allowing us to bring you all of the action live here at the Gordon Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia. Savannah Johnson now back in the lineup. And there's a ball on the play, and as that play occurs, we've got a steal up second base. As Jaden McCarty will steal successfully. Here comes a 1-0 pitch from Murphy. Ball 2. And Johnson will hit a ball out of play. 2 balls, 1 strike. And there's the strike. Gets her swinging. The 2-2 pitch. And Johnson will pop it up into right field, and it is caught by the Golden Rams right fielder, Gloria C., for out number 3. So we head into the bottom of the 6th inning. Albany State's Golden Rams 3, Lane College 2. We'll be back with more SIAC softball.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs. Committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
And welcome back to the SIAC softball tournament, which is brought to you by Cricket Wireless. We're now in the bottom frame of the 6th inning. Albany State holding on to a 3-2 lead over the Lane College Dragons.
Pitching for the Golden Rams, number 21, Kennedy Dora.
Kennedy Dora now at the dish for Albany State. She's hit .361 on the year. Give you a little information about Miss Dora. Dora is from Sausalito, California. We'll go to Google and let you know what Sausalito is in just a second. Here's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, that's right north of San Francisco. North of San Francisco.
All right, and our friends here in the press box have let us know that Sausalito is just north of San Francisco on the bay. Yep, Sausalito appears to be literally the last community you will pass through before going across the Golden Gate Bridge to get to San Francisco. And here's a nice hit into left field for the young lady from Sausalito, California. That's Kennedy Dora. Dora will get the single.
For the Golden Rams brings up right fielder number 4, Glory C.
Glory C coming up next to bat. C from Conyers, Georgia. And we've got a pitch runner coming in.
First runner for the Golden Rams, number 1, Brielle Thompson.
And Brielle Thompson will make her way to first base now. Freshman from Powder Springs, Georgia. Glory C now at the dish. C lays down the bunt, and the catcher cannot make the play on the throw to first. So C is safe. C took off and put on those afterburners to get to first.
I was still trying to make that change. I looked up right as it was.
So as we have a stoppage of play, once again, we want to thank everyone who has helped out in the efforts to make the 2023 Cricket SIAC softball tournament a success thus far. We're on day 2, and we've had a lot of great action on day 1 and in these first games of day 2. On the opposite field, we got Tuskegee leading Clark Atlanta by a score of 8-3. The winner of that game will face the winner of this game around 4 p.m. Coming up at 1:30 on the Black College Sports Network and the SIAC Sports YouTube page, we'll have Spring Hill and Edward Waters. That is a winner's bracket game. Both teams were successful in winning all of their games on yesterday. The winner of that game will advance to the championship on tomorrow at 2 p.m. And all they'll need to do is just win one game to take home the big trophy.
New pitcher in the game for the Lane Dragons, sophomore from Harriman, Tennessee.
All right, so we have a pitching change as Autumn Phillips will replace Jersey Cabana. So as she prepares to take the mound, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more SIAC softball action.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G boss mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination.
And we're back at the Gordon Sports Complex. Tennyson now in to bat for the Golden Rams. And there's a high pitch right there by Autumn Phillips. Phillips finished the regular season with 31 Ks. Here comes the 1-1 pitch from Phillips. And Tennyson lays down the bunt, but it will go foul. So Autumn Phillips replacing Jersey Cabana, who went about 5 innings. She gave up 7 hits and had 3 strikeouts on the day. Tennyson has not a great batting average on the year and got a foul ball tip right there.
Up the bat for the Golden Rams. Third baseman, number 12.
All right, so they called Tennyson out on that one. All right. And what it was is that she bunted with 2 strikes, and it was a foul ball. Thus, she gets the first out for the Golden Rams. Now with the dish is number 12, Delaney Hollis, hitting .284 on the year. Hollis from Snellville, Georgia. Here's a pitch, and it is low by Phillips. And Phillips will hit Hollis on the pitch. So Hollis will take her base. And right now, the Golden Rams are cooking with grease with the bases juiced.
Up to bat, shortstop, number 9, Tajane Brown.
As Tajane Brown makes her way to the dish. Tajane Brown has an opportunity to do some real damage and give the Golden Rams some breathing room with their lead. Who knows, even some insurance runs as well. Brown, sophomore from Powder Springs, Georgia, hitting .314 on the season. And Brown will hit a ball out of play. On the field adjacent to us, Tuskegee now has extended their lead. They lead Clark Atlanta 10-3 in the 6th inning. The winner of that game will face the winner of this game at 4 p.m. And here's a ball that is low and to the right. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out for the Golden Rams. Golden Rams rocking the all-gray uniforms with the dark blue numerals, which are trimmed with white. Two balls, 1 strike, 1 out for Brown. And Brown hits a ground ball, foul, up the first base line. 2 balls, 2 strikes will be your count. Golden Rams with a golden opportunity with the bases loaded and 1 out.
He holds it up there a long time, makes you wonder, right? You just don't want to turn it around.
Right. Trying to make sure I'm on the same.
And that ball is low for the 3rd ball of the count. So now we have 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Can Brown take advantage of a golden opportunity for Albany State? Autumn Phillips trying to get Lane out of a jam. Here's the pitch. And Phillips struck her out. straight down the middle with that pitch.
2 outs, back to the top of the order.
What a pitch by Autumn Phillips.
Second baseman, number 2, Madison Hurd.
Back to the top of the order now, Madison Hurd, number 2 at the dish. Sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama. Phoenix City, not far from our location. And look at that, Madison Hurt putting the hurt on that ball. 1 run will score. There's a play at the plate, and they're saying that Glory C will be safe. Two runs will score thanks to Madison Hurt. Albany State now on top, 5-2, thanks to the 2 RBI double from Madison Hurt. Hurt just finding a gap with the base hit into shallow left field, and she brings home 2 runs. Five to 2 is your new score for the Golden Rams. Katie Ayers now at the dish. Ayers coming into this tournament batting .317.
Welcome back to the Golden Rams center fielder, number 16, Katie Ayers. Now batting, number 9, Golden.
So here's the 2-0 pitch coming up from Phillips. And Ayers lets it go. Ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. 1 ball away from having the bases loaded once again for Albany State. Strike 1. Thrown by Phillips. And we got a foul ball tip, and we'll reset. Hearing chants of "I'm in love with the Cocoa" from one of the opposing dugouts. Very interesting chant for an athletic event. That's all I'll say on that. As Ayers swings and misses on the pitch from Phillips. So in the bottom of the 6th, Albany State able to score 2 runs to extend their lead. They now lead 5-2 over Lane College. We'll go to the top of the 7th on the other side of this break.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs. Committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. smile. You're on Cricket.
And welcome back to the Gordon Sports Complex in Albany, Georgia, the site with the 2023 Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. Mo Carter here on the broadcast with the Black College Sports Network. We want to thank the front office at the SIAC for teaming up with us and allowing us to bring you the action of every single game here in Albany, Georgia. So in the bottom of the sixth inning, it was Albany State scoring 2 runs to extend their lead, making it 5-2 over Lane. So here's a bunt that's laid down. And the throw to first is dropped by Jasmine Russell. So Carissa Ball will get to first base safely via E4. Up to bat now is number 0, Candace Prather.
Pitching for the Dragons, number 0.
Prather, a senior from Roberta, Georgia, has a .500 batting average as she goes to the foul ball tip on this one. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the winner of this game will take on the winner of the Tuskegee Clark Atlanta game. Right now, Tuskegee leads Clark Atlanta 10-3 in the 7th inning. I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm not going to say anything beyond that. But just know that the winner of this game is going to face the winner of Clark Atlanta Tuskegee at 4 p.m. And here's Prather hitting another ball out of play. Coming up at 1:30 on the Black College Sports Network and the SIAC Sports YouTube page, we will have the winner's bracket game between Spring Hill and Edward Waters. The winner of that contest will advance to tomorrow's championship with an opportunity to only needing to win one game for the crown. That's coming up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So Prather now still at the dish with no balls and 2 strikes. And there's a steal attempt at second base. Safe. Is Carissa Ball.
Pitch hitter for the Lane College Dragons, number 23, Sierra Luster.
So into the game now. Hitting is Sierra Luster, number 23. She'll be a pitch hitter. And Luster will get to first base via an E4. And another run will cross the plate for Lane College. So our new score is Albany State 5, Lane 3.
Up to bat for the Dragons, catcher number 18, Malay Lambert.
Malay Lambert now at the dish with 1 out. Some of the Lane College baseball players have made their way to the park in support of the softball team. Always good to see that camaraderie. They understand the importance of these tournament games and also just having some sort of support system in play. ASU. So here's a base hit in the left field by Malay Lambert. Lambert will get to first. Luster makes her way to second.
Up to bat for the Dragons, designated player number 13, Kaylee Stinnett.
And Kaylee Stinnett makes her way to the dish. And looks like Coach Jason Bryant has made his way to the pitching circle to talk to his infield. You know, this is probably the basic. Come on, ladies, we've got a lead. Let's get 2 more outs. Let's get this victory and advance on to the 4 o'clock game. And it looks like Trista Murphy is now talking things over with her infield as well. But Caitlin Stinnett now at the plate. She represents the potential go-ahead run for Lane College. Lane with 2 runners on. Stinnett at the dish. And there's a strike thrown by Murphy. So far, Murphy has pitched 6 full innings. She's given up two hits. She's had 1 error, and she's struck out 4. And there's a wild pitch by Murphy. Goes over the catcher's head, and the runners will advance to second and third. Your tying run is at second base. Stinnett represents a potential go-ahead run. Things just got interesting over here on field number 2. He's still playing. And on another field right now, Tuskegee continues to have a commanding lead over Clark Atlanta by a score of 10-3. They hold on. They'll advance to the 4 p.m. game to face the winner of this game between Lane College and Albany State. The SIAC has been very busy with crowning of champions recently. And the Black College Sports Network has been a part of all of that action. A few weeks ago, we had the men's volleyball championship. Then last week in Atlanta, Georgia, we were on the campus of Morehouse College at the Edwin C. Moses track and field facility for the SIAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. A great 3-day event. Yours truly and Sly, the sports guy, Mr. Williams, brought you all the action. I think we might have had a little bit too much fun in the broadcast booth, but it was great stuff as we saw Benedict take home the championships. Last week with track and field, that was a very, very fun event. And then we rolled on with more action here with softball. But, yeah, congratulations to Benedict as they swept both the men's and the women's championship last week with track and field. So congratulations to the Tigers. All right, so the other game has gone final. Tuskegee picked up a victory over Clark Atlanta, so they will advance to the 4 p.m. game and take on the winner of either Lane or Albany State. Kaylee Stinnett right now at the dish. She's got 3 balls, no strikes, 1 out. The pressure's on Murphy. And Stinnett hits a ground ball, goes off the glove of the first baseman. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. We got a brand new ball game. It is 5-5 with Lane and Albany State. Jasmine Russell tried to field the ground ball but could not. She tried to field it but could not. In the process, 2 runs will score for Lane, and the Dragons have tied this ball game up at 5 apiece. Kaylee Stinnett getting to first, and now she represents the go-ahead run as Ava Meredith makes her way to the dish. Meredith coming into this tournament with a 379 batting average. And the freshman from Las Vegas, Nevada, hits it out of play. No balls, 1 strike. And there is new life and energy in the dugout for the Lane College Dragons. Here's the pitch from Murphy. And it's low. Appeared to be a ball. So 1 ball, 1 strike. So here's the pitch from Murphy. And Ava Meredith hits it into the fence. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As I mentioned, there's new life in the dugout for the Dragons of Lane College. They're excited. The baseball team who came over to support them is excited. And Meredith will strike out. Murphy sends her down.
2 outs, up to bat for the Dragons. Second baseman, number 1, Haley Colger.
Haley Colger now up to the dish, the sophomore from Florence, Alabama. Trying to either get on base or even drive in a run to break this tie. That ball is popped up and out of play. It just hit the roof above our heads. And we've got a short break in action. Looks like we need a few more softballs for our teams that are playing. I did see a guy getting some of them off the net earlier with one of the longest poles I've ever seen. But thankfully our crew here inside the press box are getting them situated and bringing some around so we can continue play. Because, man, what a game it has been. Lane College has fought their way back to tie the ball game with Albany State. It's 5-5 in the top of the 7th inning. As we mentioned earlier, the winner of that game will face Tuskegee at 4 p.m. Tuskegee just beat Clark Atlanta by a score of 10-3. Couldn't roll it off my tongue quick enough because that scoreboard is to the right of my vision, but they just made it 0-0. So I had to check with somebody just to make sure. And just got second confirmation of 10-3. So Tuskegee advanced. They'll take on the winner of this Lane College Albany State game that just got a tad bit more interesting. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and it is hit via foul. Another foul ball. We're starting to see the young ladies from Spring Hill College make their way into the facility now. Spring Hill will go head-to-head with Edward Waters around 1:30 p.m. for a huge matchup. All right, and apparently the third and final out for Lane College just occurred. They're saying runner left early on a previous pitch. All right, so that's what has been confirmed. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's take a quick break as Lane College has now tied the ball game up at 5 apiece. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th, and we'll return with more SIAC softball action.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G boss mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
And we are back at the Gordon Sports Complex, the site of the 2023 SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. At the top of the 7th inning, it was Lane College getting 2 runs to tie this ball game up at 5 apiece. Now as we go into the bottom of the frame, Albany State has an opportunity to win via walk-off. If not, we could be going into extra innings. But no broadcasters, Jinxie. I just want to let the people at home know the scenarios. Kind of looking out at the Gordon Sports Complex Park. A good group of softball supporters representing their respective schools. As I mentioned, Spring Hill College was making their way into the park. Now I'm seeing Edward Waters do the same. At the dish right now is number 13, and that is Ramona McLeod. And McLeod will pop up.
Up to bat for the Golden Rams. The catcher.
Catch is made by Savannah Johnson for the first out. Morgan Brown now coming up to the dish. Brown was responsible for giving Albany State a 3-2 lead a few innings ago. .387 batting average on the year for Miss Brown. And Brown will hit a chopper, and it is out number 2 over at first.
Two outs at the bat for the Golden Rams. number 20, Jasmine Russell.
Jasmine Russell now up to the dish for the Golden Rams. Trying to get something going for Albany State. Freshman from Wetumpka, Alabama. And there's a strike by Phillips. The 0-1 pitch coming now from Phillips. It's low for ball one. And the ball is hit in the foul ball territory, but how about another grab by Savannah Johnson? Johnson actually is responsible for getting all three outs in the bottom of the frame. So we got some free softball, everyone. As we go to the top of the 8, we're tied at 5-5 between Lane and Albany State. More SIAC softball coming up after the break.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just the touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs. Committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all heart.
Leading off the top of 8 for the Dragons, number 1, second baseman Haley Coker.
And welcome back to the 2023 Cricket SIAC Softball Tournament and Championship. Haley Coger at the dish. She hits a high fly ball, and it is caught by the first baseman, Jasmine Russell, for out number 1. We are in extra innings.
1 out for the Dragons, up to bat.
With your score 5-5. Lane came all the way back and scored several runs in the top of the 7th inning to tie this game. And then Savannah Johnson made all 3 plays from first base. And that's where we stand at right now. Here's a base hit. The throw to first is on the money for out number 2.
First baseman, number 15, Savannah Johnson.
And for all you watching live on the SIAC Sports YouTube page, we want to thank you for checking out the action. We are in extra innings right now. Just want to let you know that. We are in extra innings right now with Lane College and Albany State. Coming up at 1:30, it'll be the winner's bracket game, with an opportunity to advance to the championship between Spring Hill College and Edward Waters. And then at 4 p.m., we got the winner of this contest taking on Tuskegee, who beat Clark Atlanta 10-3. Here's Savannah Johnson hitting one into right field, and It is caught by the right fielder for out number 3. Great catch by Gloria C. So 3 up, 3 down, and we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. We're still tied at 5 between Lane and Albany State. More action coming up on the other side of the break.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their students and prepare them for a bright future. The Home Depot's Retool Your School program has and still believes in the excellence of HBCUs, committed not just in speech, but through the revitalization and upgrades of the campuses these students call home. Building, planting, tilling the dream, all hearts and countless volunteers on the ground. Retool Your School. We're powered by purpose.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
And we're back in the bottom of the 8th inning. Albany State up to bat. Gloria C., the young lady that made the great catch in right field, now up to the dish. See, has a 372 batting average on the season. Here's a pitch from Phillips. Results in ball number 2. And there's a strike. Thrown by Phillips. And there's a chopper. Ball is fielded, and the throw to first is on the money for out number 1.
Up to bat, designated player number 3, Tiana McFarland.
Up the bat now is number 3, Tiana McFarland. She checks back to the game. Sophomore from Sugar Land, Texas, right outside of the Houston area. And McFarland pops one up, and the ball is caught for out number 2. Great play right there by Malay Lambert. And now Albany State has 2 outs.
2 outs, up to bat for the Golden Rams. Third baseman, number 12, Delaney Hollis.
Now here comes Delaney Hollis, the young lady with the pink ribbon on the back of her braids. The pitch from Phillips, and it is hit in the foul territory. An 0-1 pitch coming up from Phillips. On our YouTube live stream, Glenda Russell says, "Let's go Rams." Pitch from Phillips. Foul ball tip by Hollis. We're in extra innings right now between the Dragons and the Golden Rams. And Hollis hits another ball into foul territory. You count 0-2 with 2 outs coming up. The winner of this game will take on Tuskegee at 4 p.m. Will be first pitch for the winner of this contest as they'll take on the Tuskegee Tigerettes. Now here's a ground ball that's hit. Can the play be made at first? No, it cannot. It is overthrown. So Hollis will make her way to first base. She now represents the go-ahead and winning run.
Up to bat for the Golden Rams. Shortstop, number 9, Tajane Brown.
Tajane Brown making her way to the plate now. 3:14 on the season. Brown, sophomore from Powder Springs, Georgia. And Brown hits a ball up the middle, and Phillips cannot field it correctly, so now Brown advances to first. With the base hit, Hollis will advance to second. And now 2 runs are on for the Golden Rams. Go to Rams with runners on first and second, but they've got 2 outs. If they can play the run, they win via walk-off. And Tyler Jackson, number 14, will make her way to second base as a pitch runner.
Pitch runner for the Golden Rams, number 14, Tyler Jackson.
Jackson can represent the winning run for the Golden Rams. At the dish right now, number 2, Madison Hurt. And Hurt with the base hit down first base. Here comes the Golden Rams. And how about this? Madison Hurt with a walk-off. Double. Tyler Jackson will score. And your final score, Albany State 6, Lane College 5. Albany State wins on a walk-off. What a game here in the SIAC softball tournament. Man, oh man. Madison Hurt coming through with the walk-off double to bring home Tyler Jackson, and that'll be all said and done from field number 2 here at the Gordon Sports Complex. Once again, your final score, Albany State 6, Lane 5 in 8 innings. So with the victory, Albany State will advance to take on Tuskegee at 4 p.m. later on right here in Albany, Georgia. Man, what a game that was. So here's what we want you to do. We want you to keep it locked here with the Black College Sports Network and keep it locked with the SIAC Sports YouTube page. Coming up around 1:30, we will have the winner's bracket game between Spring Hill and Edward Waters. The winner of that contest advances to the championship round on tomorrow. At 4 p.m., we will see Albany State take on Tuskegee in what should be an exciting game on field number 2. All right, everyone. Also, all games will be seen on the Black College Sports Network's main feed on our website as well. So, and also on Facebook. So, look, if you are missing the SIAC tournament video-wise, that's on you because we are putting it all out across the board on various platforms, everyone. So, once again, your final score here from field number 2, it is Albany State 6, Lane College. 5, Albany will advance to take on the Tigerettes from Tuskegee. Coming up at 1:30, we've got Spring Hill and we've got Edward Waters. The winner of that game will advance to the championship on tomorrow. We'll be back a little later on right here on the Black College Sports Network and the SIAC Sports YouTube page. Have yourself a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you soon.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just a touch of a button. Because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports and Outdoors app today.
HBCUs are anchored by legacy. They nurture the talent and determination of their
Legal
students.
knowledge and skills make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
This is Ryan Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of About All Things Related to HBCU Athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m.
Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life. Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock
In downtown Atlanta.
For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992.
Or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com.
For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant.
Authentic Caribbean cuisines. Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavill, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball, So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. DeVille with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. And we have none other than Charles Bishop. Welcome to episode 387 Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, radio show and podcast, a show that's covering the sporting HBC dash for all things HBCU sports, from institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KSOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, that's multi-Hall of Famer, the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that said, Charles, how you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. We got a few topics to get into today. I'm sure we will get into the environment in which we will take a look at, especially this past week with regards to NFL draft or those who were not draft, but we had some great baseball this past weekend in the SWAC. I know we'll get into that. So looking forward to getting into all topics that are HBCU athletics.
No doubt about it. And you're absolutely correct. And that one is a hot one off the start about the NFL, but I think we'll get a chance to get into that a little more. Came across something with Jim Trotter that I thought made some good points. I have some data points that I've been discussing on a couple of shows and sharing as I listen to shows. But as we get into a little further to it, we can get a little more in dialogue, if you would, about that. But let's start, as we normally do, with some of the news of the day, some big time news as you're starting to get into the championship. A couple of championships have been crowned out of there. Where do you want to start, though, with the news of the day?
Well, let me start with news today. Let's start with football. If you have not I've seen it. There was only one NFL draft pick. It was former Jackson State cornerback Isaiah Bolden, who was selected by the New England Patriots. He was a 245th pick in the 7th round. But I want to acknowledge those players who were signed by NFL teams as undrafted free agents. So there are about approximately 16 of them, but we'll start Hampton wide receiver Jadakiss Bonds. He goes to the San Francisco 49ers. Alcorn State linebacker Claudine Charles goes to the New York Jets. Jackson State had receiver Dallas Daniels to the Denver Broncos. South Carolina State Shaq Davis goes to New Orleans Saints. UAPB's offensive tackle Mark Evans to New Orleans Saints. Andrew Farmer from Lane College goes to the Los Angeles Chargers. Bowie State quarterback Jan Golat, he goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Virginia State running back Darius Higgins goes to the Indianapolis Colts. Alabama State DB Keenan Isaac to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Florida A&M rush in Isaiah Land, the linebacker, goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Jackson State's Aubrey Miller, linebacker, to the Miami Dolphins. Southern defensive lineman Cam Peterson, he goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Bowie State defensive lineman Joshua Pryor going to the Washington Commanders. The X-Man, Florida A&M wide receiver Xavier Smith goes to the Los Angeles Rams. Nugget, Jackson State defensive back Dijon Nugget Warren goes to the Chicago Bears. Fort Valley State running back Emmanuel Wilson to the Denver Broncos. So those were the listing of your NFL undrafted free agents that will be looking to hook on with teams in the NFL.
I think that was 12, 13 free agents that signed.
Yes.
One of them was invited for the summer camp.
Yes.
In terms of those numbers, fascinating when you break that down, and we'll get into it. Like I said, a little more of that. One that I got to speak about a little bit that I'll get off there is Dillard wins Gulf Coast Athletic Conference Baseball Championship. Its first year of the program existence. This is from DillardBlueDevils.com. Out of New Orleans over there, obviously they played the championship tournament in Jackson, Mississippi. Were you familiar out there in the old ballpark out that way? Dillard's baseball shocked GCAC, lost the first game, got in the loser bracket, and just wouldn't stop winning after that. Won 5 games to get it done, including 2 on championship Sunday, as you would, knocking off Russ College that had played really good baseball. And even those games were close. They had essentially one bad inning in that second matchup where it became a winner take all. But great contest in terms of seeing the players going back and forth. And really, in a lot of ways, is what it's about in terms of having a conference and you having everything online. The smiles on the faces, and they even panned in the crowd, so you got to see the fans. Obviously, oftentimes moms and dads, brothers and sisters, and just alumni that were out there celebrating and supporting their team. So it was joyous to see what they were able to get done. Again, after losing that first game to Russ College in the quarterfinals, 10-1, Dillard battled back and won 2 games in a row to claim the championship on Saturday after winning 3 during the elimination phase to get to that championship Sunday. In the championship round, Tyler Fitch was the hero on offense as he drove in 3 of the Blue Devils' 5 runs and a 5-2 win over Rush to set up that final contest in a lot of ways. In the winner-take-all second game, Dillard gave 5 runs in the 8th inning to break a 3-3 tie, capped off by Jalen Ayers' 3-run inside the park home run that just got under the glove of an outfielder there. Dylan Scott would also get it done on the mound as he pitched a complete game, only allowing 2 runs and striking out 7 over 9 innings to clinch the title. And you always see that as the case. If you get into that loser bracket and you find a way to the championship game and find a way, obviously, to push through, in a lot of cases, that's because you get a couple of games where you get a pitcher that is able to give you those additional innings. A complete game, obviously, but even if they give you 7 or 8 innings, that's how you're able to push through and get a little more of that momentum. So that was kudos to see Dillard get it done there in terms of giving you some news from the GCAC. First year of the program, not first time winning a championship in terms of, and essentially this is the first year the GCAC had enough teams, in this case 6, where they were actually able to do a full-fledged tournament. And so that was pretty cool. It was neat. Kudos to Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes and those presidents out there at GCAC schools that were able to push forward and bring back baseball. Significant. So I'm excited for the GCAC.
Yeah, that's pretty significant, especially when you take a look at Dillard first year in terms of their baseball program, and then to fight back from the losers bracket. That's strong. That's strong. Fight back from the GCAC regular season conference champion Russ College, and to fight their way into the championship game and to win it all. You take your hat off to that program. Talk about a program ascending places. Year one, they bring home a trophy, Doc.
Yeah, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Nothing stiff your nose at that. Excited. You want to talk about South Carolina State as they win women's tennis championship?
I was going to talk about baseball.
I'll do the South Carolina State, and I'll come back and let's do the baseball. South Carolina State wins 2023 MEAC Women's. I was putting these championships in a row. That's why I wanted to get them out the way. MEAC Women's Tennis Championship, dominated over the years, dominated throughout the season, and they get it done when it counts in terms of the tournament. South Carolina State defeats Delaware State 4-0 on a Saturday morning at the Cary Tennis Park to win the 2023 MEAC Eastern Athletic Conference MEAC Women's Tennis Championship. The Bulldogs won their third straight, as I was saying. They've done it for a while. And 17th overall to earn the MEAC automatic bid to the NCAA Women's Tennis Championship. South Carolina State got started with a strong doubles performance, winning at both number 1 and number 3 as they won that. And then at number 3, they also got it done in terms of winning those big games. Number 1 and number 3 were Nalanda Silva and Theodora Bouchet, won 6-0 at number 3 before Sophia Tracina and Hen Samala. Took a 7-5 win at number 1 to give the Bulldogs the double point. They continue to dominate and get it done as they win their outstanding performers. Goes to South Carolina State along with the coach. Hardeep Judge gets it done in terms of the tournament, and they just littered the all-tournament team in terms of that. Well, doing it for the women were not just enough. They turned around and did it for the men as well. So South Carolina State represents both on the men's and women's side tennis championship. South Carolina State on the men's side defeat North Carolina Central 4-0 on Saturday afternoon at the park there, Cary Tennis Park, to be specific, as they continue to get it done. With that being said, let me turn it back to you and give you some updates on where you wanted to go with some news of the day.
Yeah, let's look at the SWAC Baseball Weekly Honors for this past week, May 2nd. The SWAC has tabbed Alabama State's Ali LaPrete and Omar Melendez in SWAC Baseball Weekly Honors for their outstanding performances this past week. Hitter of the week, LaPrete, he returned to the lineup and helped the Hornets to a series sweep of FAMU. He hit .625 this past weekend, along with a .769 on-base percentage during the 3-game sweep of FAMU. He drove in 7 runs with 3 home runs. He reached base 9 times. Dr. Bill in 12 plate appearances over the weekend, went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs in a 10-1 game 2 win. He also went 2 for 4 with a home run and 4 RBIs in a 13-10 win in the series for the Alley. And the pitcher of the week, Omar Melendez, he tossed 7 scoreless innings with 8 strikeouts to help Alabama State earn a 1-0 victory over FAMU in the series opener. He scattered 5 hits with 3 walks and only allowed 1 extra base hit. Melendez won his 6th straight start. So those are your players of the week in the SWAC. Heck of a series with Alabama State and FAMU.
Big time baseball, man. We'll turn in our second segment and really get into some baseball talk, man. It was some big time games played this weekend, some sweeps that I weren't quite expecting to go that way. So it'll be interesting as we dig into that. But before we take this break, I want to talk about this one. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Coach Antoine Sewell. It was over here at Prairie View one time. I followed him, had him on there. Bowie State defensive coordinator, Morgan State coach selected for the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship with Ravens. This is from HBCU Sports. As Morgan State's defensive coordinator, Anton Sewell, has been selected for the Bill Walsh Diversity Coaching Fellowship Program in the Baltimore Ravens. Sewell is the second coach with Bowie State ties to be selected for this fellowship in as many years, along with former Bulldogs quarterback and wide receiver coach Nemo Washington, who worked with Cleveland Browns in 2022 before taking a job at Morgan State. Sewell was the defense coordinator of his alma mater, Bowie State Bulldogs, leading a unit that won 3 straight CIAA championships from 2018 to 21, would not let it go, going deep into the playoffs several of those years, I must say. Sewell, who drew interest from Alabama State, joined Damon Wilson as Morgan State's, after Wilson was named Bears coach last season. Other previous coaching stops for the Bear defensive coach include Prairie View A&M, where he won a championship there, and Fort Valley State previous to that. Kudos to Coach Antoine Sewell. Big news, big stuff going on there. I was excited about that. You know, last week we had the money. As we talked about the money sports, add another one to it before we get into this last break. Town Bank pledges $1 million gift to Hampton University for the naming rights, along with some other things they'll do, and that's naming rights to the stadium. Hampton University announced today that Town Bank has pledged $1 million to the university for naming rights to Armstrong Stadium and premier engagements with the Department of Athletics. The grant also outlines career services and professional development opportunities between the university and Town Park family of companies. Hampton University President Darrell K. Williams said, quote, "We're extremely excited about this news and we look very much forward to our enhancement partnership. We truly appreciate Town Bank and its continued support and advocacy of Hampton and our vision to amplify and sustain the athletic program and the culture of excellence that promote national university pride and build high-achieving leaders and champions. Thank you again, Town Bank," end quote. Quote, "The gift marks the largest partnership between Town Bank and HBCU," end quote, said Alexis Swan, president of Town Bank Pensacola in Williamsburg. Quote, "We are excited about the opportunity to collaborate and find new strategic ways to enhance our relationship with Hampton University," end quote. Big time in terms of that opportunity. Interesting, and for the number of years, they really don't get into that. So that'd be fascinating to see if that's $1 million over some period of time or 1 year, or is it $1 million per year? It didn't really get into that level of detail, but that'll do it for this segment. Stickle will be right back after this break. We'll come back on the other side and really get into some of the baseball talk as we get excited of what took place. Give you some updates on some of the independent programs. Tough weekend for them. We do have one of the programs that's in the hunt, so we'll make sure we talk about that out of the Northeast Conference. And then we'll get in really where it's getting hot and heavy in the SWAC baseball. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this first break.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavills with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let me get you some updates on some of these scores here as we look at the Colonial with North Carolina A&T. They had a tough weekend, and they've really struggled over the last couple of weekends. Told you as we came back 2 weeks ago, they swept, which was a great weekend, and they turned around and got swept basically this weekend. So they're sitting in the 9th position in the Colonial, but they're just a game and a half back from that vaunted 6th spot. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do over the last couple of weekends as they, in a lot of ways, just continue to struggle in terms of what's going on there with them in the Colonial position. Let me see if I can get you some of these scores just to keep you updated, to be informed there. First thing started off on that Friday, as you know, played a 3-game series. Sometimes they play a double header, but they started on Friday where they played Stony Brook. They lost that game 5-1 to start things off, where they actually played a double header on that Friday. So they get back for the second game and see if they can get some things going. It was not to be. Closer contest, but still could not get over the hurdle. They lose that one 5-3 in terms of what took place there. Were not able to get a game in on Saturday. And so they played the final game on Sunday, and not to any avail as they lose that one 6-1. So you come off and you get some excited with people talking about down the stretch. You're a little closer in terms of right there in this 7th spot, just a game back. I think it was a week ago. You come back this weekend, you lose 3 to Stony Brook, but it gets you in a position to really have a chance to make the Colonial playoffs, which is the top 6 teams that they do. And so you have no room for error if you're North Carolina A&T trying to figure that out. So tough haul going there. Any thoughts, Charles, and just how tough that may be in terms of trying to make a late season run in terms of what that looks like there for North Carolina A&T and the Colonial, their first year in terms of making a run in the baseball after not doing too well in the Big South as well.
Yeah, tough road for North Carolina A&T in terms of their first year in the CAA. But, I'm curious to see, especially with regards to Black College Nines, where they might fall after having a tough weekend like they did. You thought that things were going to be swing, in an upward trend for A&T after the previous weekend where they were able to get the sweep. But disappointing weekend, but tough conference. And A&T, we'll see how they can get to, like you said, that vaunted sixth position.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what that looks like as they try to get it done. It looks like they have a long road to go, but if you can string a couple of wins together, get some confidence going, get the bats going, you might be able to get into it. Pitching wise, they've been in those games. You've seen those games. It wasn't like they were just beat in terms of the bats taking it to them. They were all competitive in those games in terms of losing relatively close. But you got to get a little more runs across the plate to be able to put some pressure on the other team's batting, and pitching. Couldn't do that. Northeast Conference, you have the previous MEAC matchup, if you would, between Maryland, Eastern Shore, and Norfolk State. So it was interesting to see what this looks like. And it went a ways in terms of putting Maryland Shore up in that top 6 seed in terms of see what they took like in that matchup. So on Friday, as they get it started, Maryland Eastern Shore defeats Norfolk State 10-8 in terms of what you had there on Friday. Getting into the Saturday matchups, you got a little more going. Maryland Eastern Shore continues to get it done, so they know they win the series. They defeat Norfolk State 6-4, so they take the second game. Coppin State beats up on Sacred Heart 13-1 in that matchup, but Delaware State in their matchup against Long Island loses 5-1 in terms of what took place there. On Sunday, we'll see what took place with Maryland Eastern Shore. Do they get the brooms out in terms of what that looks like? They weren't able to get those third games in terms of the matchup there because they do a double header on Saturday. And Norfolk State gets a little
bounced back, and so they weren't swept in terms of that matchup. So they do get a win there. Norfolk State defeats Maryland Eastern Shore 7-5 in terms of what took place there. So when you look at the seedings, where it gets a little interesting, Maryland Eastern Shore, because of taking 2 out of 3 for Norfolk State, they sit at this 6th spot. They are 2 games ahead of Merrimack, that's behind them, and they are just a half a game behind Sacred Heart in terms of securing that spot as they try to get prepared for the Northeast tournament to see if they can get in that tournament as things go there. So Maryland Eastern Shore has been pretty solid. They're 11-10 overall in the conference in terms of being able to be solid in the middle of the hunt. So they've been playing pretty good baseball in terms of conference play. Overall, they're just 15-27. They've been kind of up and down in the season. Not so much for Coppin State coming in at 7-14. Delaware State behind them at 6-15. Tied with Norfolk State at 6-15, but not at the bottom as you had Stonehill that is 5-16. Looking at Maryland Eastern Shore, what are your thoughts in terms of just overall how they've kind of played this first year, if you would, in terms of Northeast Conference, at least being pretty competitive, middle of the road, if you would, and trying to put themselves in a position to see if they can make a tournament about being able to get a couple of series here and there in the Northeast Conference this first year?
Well, you mentioned that they're 11-10 in the conference in their first year. Very competitive, 1 game above 500. And you're talking about a strong program coming over from the MEAC into this conference, and they've continued to stay strong during this first year in that Northeast Conference. So, they carried over that pitching, and that's what you got to have here on this level with regards to throwing some decent arms out there. We remember Coppin State, and now Maryland Eastern Shore with some pretty good arms. So they've had a very successful first year in the Northeast Conference.
Now I'm gonna take this over, just get your general thoughts. But I was in it, and so I know you didn't quite follow it like I did. But I would be remiss if I didn't get some interest in terms of this MEAC softball tournament. I told you going in the last week, this was the final week. And so you had that matchup between Morgan State and North Carolina Central. Essentially, it was going to be for first place in the division with Norfolk State right in the mix as they hosted Maryland Eastern Shore. Well, I'm going to start with this. Maryland Eastern Shore got beat up by Norfolk State, pretty much got swept there as they got out of there. So they fall out of that top 4 spot as they do stay in that 6th spot. But you're talking about being securely in to just hanging in. But Norfolk State takes 2 from Central in terms of being able to get it done. So Morgan State, the Bears, Lady Bears there win the softball regular season championship 24-19 as they get it done against Norfolk State on the road. So pretty significant there. Norfolk State behind them at 24-21. They'll have the 2nd seed while North Carolina Central will hold on to the 3rd seed, and then Howard finds a way to sneak up to the 4th seed after winning there. Have won 6 of the last games, so they're playing pretty good softball right now. Coppin State gets into the tournament as well in the 5th spot, and Maryland Eastern Shore just holds on for the 6th spot. But fascinating when you talk about what's going on a little bit in softball over there. Obviously, this week for the SWAC, you get into softball, so it's going to be interesting to see when you talk about the East versus West. The record, only 1 loss for Prairie View in terms of what they're able to do in the total SWAC, if you would. Can they utilize that, and can they hold on to that momentum that they will take advantage of the West as they sweep Southern and make sure that Southern does not get into the tournament? Southern does not make the top 4 spots in terms of the Alcorn is able to get in there above Southern. But it's going to be interesting when you start looking at the SWAC East. Obviously we talk a little bit about that in terms of the term for baseball, but we see it's playing its head again. So I'm fascinated to see what that will mean in terms of the SWAC. Bethune-Cookman holds on to 1st place, even though they lost their last game. In the East, 18-7. They finished above Jackson State. That is at 12-12, tied with Alabama State at, guess what, 12-12. And we're not finished with the ties, Charles. You have FAMU at 12-12. in terms of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll have to see the tiebreakers. But this is what's ironic about how these teams finish. All these teams finish out the season with a loss. For Bethune-Cookman, it was just one. Jackson State and Alabama State, it was one. But FAMU gets into the tournament, as it looks now, losing the 4 straight games. The first matchup they played against Prairie View. You know, when you do the East-West, it's number 1 in the West, but number 4 in the East in regards to as the standings hold out now. So it'll be fascinating to kind of see what that looks like in terms of what goes on there. Let me take that back. That was last year's record. But in terms of what took place this year, Alabama State is actually the number 1 seed. That's what I recall coming into, so I was a little confused with what was going on there. They won 5 straight. So that I'm interested if they'll play each other. Obviously, that was the championship game that Alabama State thought they were going to go in there as they were looking at as the strongest team coming into 2022. But Prairie View got hot and got it done. So if they face off sometime in the tournament, it'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. But let me break down the top 4 teams in terms of 2023. Alabama State, number 1, 17-7. Bethune-Cookman at 15-9. Alabama A&M at 13-10. Jackson State at 13-11, just edging out FAMU that will not make the tournament at 12-11 in terms of what took place there. Big win by Jackson State. Needed that last win they got to make sure they got in the tournament. Kudos to Jackson State. In the West, Prairie View 22-2 in terms of what they're able to do. Grambling State, 2nd seed at 14-9. Texas Southern at 12-12. And Alcorn State, as I said, at the 4th spot, 11-13, while Southern is outside looking in 8-16. They had a chance, depending on what they could do against Prairie View, and needed some luck by Alcorn State. Could not get that done. So those are your seeding going into the tournament this week. They start off on Thursday with fascinating, as we'll give you some updates on Thursday when we come back into the show about what took place there. Let's get into our second break. We'll come back on the other side and talk a little bit about the SWAC baseball, what took place this weekend, and see what Charles thinks. Charles, I can give you this. We talked a little bit about this. There was some pitching. Are you concerned? There was a pitching matchup that went down. One whole game. We'll talk about who got it done on the other side. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this second break.
Stillman College is an HBCU in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where we prepare students for a different world. Stillman is a college of distinction for last year and this year. Our largest majors are business and biology, followed closely by psychology, criminal justice, and history for pre-law, communications, English, and religion. Our newest degree programs are in the Department of Computational Sciences, which covers cybersecurity, data analytics, and math. The Biomedical Academy prepares students for competitive entry into health professions and graduate programs. We have established summer biomedical research internships with major research institutions, such as the University of Alabama, Drexel and Temple Universities in Philadelphia, the Salk Institute in San Diego, California, and the universities of Florida, Indiana, and Iowa. We became creative with social distancing and masks for the pandemic. Our students enjoy movie nights at the stadium and the new Melissa and Davis Legacy Courtyard, where you can eat and enjoy friends. We have the Divine Nine Greek letter organizations, student government leadership, and ambassadors. Our small class sizes, nurturing faculty, and friendly environment let you know that Black Lives Matter at Stillman College each and every day. Applications are free. Sign up at discover.stillman.edu. Complete the contact card and apply today. Stillman College, where we prepare students for a different world.
Press the
Damn, that lady data with his hip hop. If you know him like I know him, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill's Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop, bringing you a segment in terms of the SWAC baseball. Things jumped off on Friday. I kind of teased this out, and it really got going, and everybody was looking at that FAMU Alabama State matchup. Remember, they'll play twice in a matter of 4 weeks. So this was the first crucible to see two teams that were at the top of the conference, tied at the time going into this matchup, going in both at 15-3 before what took place this weekend. But the first matchup was a pitching game. Alabama State got it done, winning 1-0 over FAMU. Remember, these games all played in Montgomery, setting up the rest of the weekend. What also took place is the fact that Jackson State got it done as they end up defeating Bethune-Cookman, that is challenged a little bit in terms of what's taking place of lately in terms of that matchup. And then you have Texas Southern getting it done against Alcorn State 9-2. Prairie View pulls out a late game winner against Grambling 8-5. And Southern defeats Arkansas Pine Bluff 10-1. Didn't think much of that, but a couple of scores as you get into it were very interesting in terms of what took place a couple of days later. In terms of Valley gets it done against Alabama A&M, 6-1 in terms of that matchup, in terms of those Friday matchups. So let's see what takes place as it gets a little more interesting on Saturday. Valley wins against Alabama A&M. Alabama State blows out FAMU. So that's 10-1 in terms of that matchup. Grambling has a thrilling win over Prairie View in late innings as they get a walk-off to win 11-10. And then you have games that are played on Sunday. And we find out that Jackson State takes another one from Bethune-Cookman, 5-3. And then they even win the third game. So they bring out the brooms. Jackson State wins 7-3, which shook a lot of folks up. I wouldn't necessarily be that surprised that Jackson State can find a way to get it done against Bethune-Cookman at home, but to bring out the brooms and sweep, I'm not sure if I was following that. That means Bethune-Cookman has gotten swept 2 weeks in a row. Last week, Alabama State, and this week, Jackson State. They really pushed them out of first place in a lot of ways.
2 of 3.
They took 2 out of 3?
2 out of 3. Bethune got the Friday game in extra innings. Yeah, and one extra innings, 13. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that correction there. I do got this one though. Alabama State wins over FAMU 13-10 to get the sweep in terms of that matchup. Valley gets the sweep against Alabama A&M 10-7. Texas Southern takes it to Alcorn State 17-7, putting them in the woodshed in terms of that matchup. But you get Arkansas Pine Bluff taking 2 from Southern, which shocked me. So you got Jackson State taking 2 out of 3, and then Southern losing 2 out of 3. Our friend Carlos over there was having concerns about baseball. He's like, not so fast. Get off the field.
Legit.
Right.
It's legit.
We can talk about that. I'll get into where people's standings are after I give you a chance to kind of talk about what did you think about this topsy-turvy weekends with a couple of sweeps out there, some teams getting 2 out of 3. That was shocking, and then a team like Southern losing 2 out of 3 times.
Let me start with the least obvious, and that's Mississippi Valley with a sweep of Alabama A&M. I got to call Hakeem McClellan and check and see when's the last time Valley baseball swept a team, because I have not seen that in quite some time.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so that
Valley hadn't been competitive since they had Schenkel, I think it was.
Yeah,
and that's been what?
Yeah, since what Doug Shanks or somebody. Yeah, so that's been a long time. So that jumped out at me. You mentioned UAPB taking 2 or 3 from Southern. That was a shocker. This is about that time of the year we start waiting for that Southern kick to come in, and that was a momentum killer. to see UAPB, team that quite honestly has been at the bottom of the SWAC West, take 2 or 3 from Southern. You just don't see it. And then take a look at what Grambling did over the weekend with PV. They did a great job, I think, of taking 2 of 3 they took 2 or 3 from Prairie View. So they held serve, if you will, in the SWAC West. So it further legitimized Grambling baseball, especially as we take on these last few weeks here of the regular season, getting to the tournament. Flip over, take a look at the SWAC East. Total shocker with Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman. I thought Bethune-Cookman would probably go in at a minimum, take 2 or 3 against Jackson State. Jackson State has been down this past season, but complete shocker for Jackson State to take 2 or 3 from a Bethune-Cookman team that was playing some pretty good baseball. So I did not expect to see that. The one, of course, complete shocker, but they are the class of the league, and it's Alabama State. I mentioned they're number 1 in hitting. They're number 1 in pitching. They're number 2 in fielder percentage. And to go out and to sweep probably, you talk about 2 and 2A, FAMU and Bethune-Cookman with regards to the SWAC East. To sweep FAMU, I can't say enough about that. So I'm going to really be looking at that last weekend when Alabama State goes to Tallahassee. That's going to be phenomenal, especially the pitching matchup. Omar Melendez, he's one of the top pitchers in the league. He is undefeated thus far in the league. Going against Hunter Beats. Hunter Beats went into that game Friday night. He was undefeated as well. But both of them played tremendous pitching performance. You take a look at the stat line in regards to Hunter Beats. He really had some changeup or sinker working because he got, I believe, 12 groundouts in that game. So he really had the ball moving around. Alabama State was able to get on top of him at some point and scratch across the run. But Alabama State sweeping FAMU, that was huge momentum booster as we go into these last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, that's fascinating when you talk about what took place there. As you said, that was significant when you sweep a team like FAMU that was playing really good baseball. Obviously, the first game, third game ended up being close in terms of the scores there, even though. And Alabama State is able to win the games in various fashions. They win the shutout, and then when they need to, they can out-hit you as well.
There it is.
That's a tough way to match up and a great way to go into the tournament. Let me give you the updated standings, at least who would be in the tournament thus far, and it looks like it's going to stand this way. Even though Southern lost 2 out of 3, they are 3 games ahead of Pine Bluff, so I guess Pine Bluff still has a puncher's chance. But Southern is sitting at 9-9. They've lost 2 straight, obviously, as we talked about there. Prairie View lost the last 2 games of their series, but they are at 13-7, so they dropped below Texas Southern that sweeps their matchup with Alcorn. So they move up to 13-6 quietly. We told you to watch out for Texas Southern in terms of able to hit, but now it seems like getting a little pitching. The schedule is rounding out in their favor. They're right there, so it's going to be a matchup, which creates a big matchup this weekend that I'll give you a chance to talk a little bit in your mind, which is Grambling coming here to Houston to face Texas Southern.
Huge.
So Grambling has had 3 straight weekends. Southern down in Baton Rouge, they come up, they got a first place matchup against Prairie View. And say, oh, well, this is your bonus for doing that. Yeah, you're in first, but now Texas Southern is in your backyard at number 2, and you got to travel on the water to Houston to play them. So Texas Southern, as I said, sitting at 13-6, Grambling at 16-5. In terms of those top 4 teams in the West Division, you go over to the East, just when we're kind of burying Jackson State and saying they really need to push if they want to solidify themselves, at least find a way to get in the tournament. They do just that against a team that you were not necessarily thinking about that in terms of Bethune-Cookman. You have Mississippi Valley State just on outside, 3 games in terms of the win column, but they're 5 back in the loss column. So Jackson State should be pretty solid in that 4th spot at 9-12. You have Bethune-Cookman sitting at 12-7. FAMU at 5th, coming to Texas Southern in Houston. You got Prairie View going to Baton Rouge in terms of Southern. You got Alabama State taking on a hot Mississippi Valley State team. So that may be interesting.
It's worth
Alabama State has to go on the road.
Yeah.
At least the one to kind of keep your eye on. Is there any letdown from Alabama State after 2 big weekends? I don't see it, but it's something to be interesting there. Then you have that Alabama A&M Bethune-Cookman. And Bethune-Cookman find their winning ways again in terms of 2 tough weekends as they lost 2 straight series. And then you had that Jackson State at FAMU. Can FAMU bounce back, or is Jackson State just that hot? Do they get a chance to make things a little more interesting, see if they can push forward and maybe try to find a way to sneak into that 3rd spot in terms of the tournament, see what the seeding looks like, and just want to be playing some good baseball? And then you got Alcorn State and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff would like to stretch things and maybe put a little pressure on Southern. They can find a way at home. As they won 2 out of 3, if they can find a way to sweep this, things could get a little more intriguing in that Western Division for that 4th and final spot over the last couple of weekends. But those are some of the key matchups. What are your thoughts in terms of baseball this weekend in the SWAC?
Let's see if FAMU has any sort of hangover from getting swept by Alabama State with Jackson State coming in. That was big in terms of psyche of beating a Bethune-Cookman baseball team with Jackson State going to FAMU. Huge weekend. I think Grambling coming here to Texas Southern. You have 2 of the top pitchers in the conference who should be squaring off, I believe, this Friday. That'll be Abraham DeLeon for Texas Southern. He has a 2.59 ERA, has 6 wins going into the game. And then Connor